Worn by more leading high school, college, and professional teams, All-Stars have been America's #1 shoe for America's #1 sport for over 40 years. Players can count on Converse Chuck Taylor All-Stars for tops in performance, fit, and comfort. Madison Square Garden and the NIT final game. Here's the opening tap, and Bradley and the dark uniforms get possession. Bobby Joe Mason with the ball. Braves have a basket. Coached by the veteran Joe Lapchick, St. John's is looking for their third invitational championship. Alan Seiden shooting from the corner. Bradley comes charging back. Dan Smith's jump shot is off, and McDade grabs the rebound. He's hot. Once again, the Redmen, and watch them move that ball. Louis Rothel misses from the side, but the alert Tony Jackson is there to cage the rebound. Top-seeded Bradley, beautifully coached by Chuck Osborne, had a season's record of 23-3. Smith feeds nicely to Gene Morse, and the Braves take the lead. Gus Alfieri, number 11. Over to Jackson, who's shooting. Around the rim and out, and that's the start of a Bradley fast break. Dan Smith gets the bucket as the first half ends with the Braves in front, 33-30. Ready for the second half. Smith gets possession for Bradley. Number 21 is Bobby Joe Mason, and he's controlling the play. Bobby's jumper is off, but McDade takes the rebound. Bullseye. Seiden brings it back for St. John's. They're looking to break up that zone defense. Rothel shooting. 2 points. That's Mason. Over to Smith. Back to Mason. He's terrific. Alfieri across the line for St. John's. Over to Jackson, who's driving. It's in there. The Braves were tournament champions in 1957, and they'd like nothing better than to do it again. Smith with the ball. Back to Mike Owens, who's wide open. Once again, the Redmen. They're 2 points down, and they're looking to tie the score. Rothel out to Alfieri. Over to Seiden. Allen's shot bounces high off the rim, but Jackson makes good on the rebound. With less than a minute to play, the score is all tied up at 61 apiece. Bradley's looking for that good shot. Owens shooting. It's no good, and Jackson rebounds for St. John's. Alfieri slowly brings it back. The clock shows 25 seconds left, and they're looking to feed Jackson for the clincher. Tony shoots. It's good. St. John's leads by 2 with only seconds to play. Mason with the ball. It's in there! 63 all at the end of regulation play. Now the overtime period. St. John's in possession, and their strategy is to control that ball. Gus Alfieri sees an opening. Joe Billy McDade for Bradley. Over to Al Saunders, who shoots. It's short of the mark, and again, Jackson rebounds for the Redmen. That's 27 for the Lanky sophomore, who sure has electrified the Garden crowd tonight. Jackson shoots. He's sensational. With just 10 seconds to play, Mike Owen hits for Bradley, but the Redmen have taken command and come rolling back. With a final basket by Louis Rothel, St. John's becomes the first team in the 22-year history to win the National Invitation Tournament a third time. The hometown crowd is jubilant, and fans race onto the court to cheer the Redmen's 76-71 triumph. Tops in scoring and rebounding for the tourney, South sensation Tony Jackson is selected most valuable. Detroit Olympia and the 9th annual NBA All-Star Game. Rival coaches Red Auerbach of the East at left and Ed McCauley of the West chat before the game. Russell jumping against Pettit. The Easterners are wearing the dark uniforms and they get the tap. That's Bob Cousy. A quick pass to Harrison and it's an easy basket. Now the West, made up of the outstanding players from the St. Louis Hawks, the Minneapolis Lakers, the Detroit Pistons, and the Cincinnati Royals. They sure are pros when it comes to moving that ball. Elgin Baylor driving. The Laker rookie gets the basket. Once again, the Easterners. They lead in this series 6 games to 2. Syracuse's Dolph Shea is wearing number 4. Up to Costello. Philadelphia's Woody Salisbury puts it through there. Dick McGuire of Detroit brings it back for the West. Harrison makes the steal and passes off to Cousy. Now just watch the ex-Holy Cross dog get the job done. He's great. Teamwork is a must in all sports, and the boys from the West prove it. McGuire into Faust. Out to Twyman. And Faust lays it in. The West holds a slight lead, and East would like to even things up. Salisbury, number 15. Over to Russell. New York's Richie Guerin setting. Off the rim, and Faust rebounds for the West. They'd like to wrap this game up here in the first half. McGuire gives to Faust. And the Laker veteran is having himself a night. West leads by 7 with less than a minute to go in the first half. That's Richie Guerin with it. George Yardley intercepts, and the Westerners are flying high. Garmaker returns to Yardley, and West leads at halftime, 61-52. Here's the center jump beginning the second half. Baylor saves at the end line, and the Hawks' Slater Martin takes it across the center line. Over to Jack Twyman, who screens for Pettit. Pretty. The Easterners need points. Costello gives to Kenny Sears, and the Knick high scorer puts it away. Martin, number 22. Over to Baylor. Detroit's Gene Shue fires to Pettit, and Bob lays it in. Bill Sharman up court for the East. The Celtics sharpshooter misses, and Pettit grabs the rebound for the West. Bob's long pass goes astray, and Cousy intercepts. Just watch Mr. Basketball take it from there. Russell makes it good. Once again, the West, and they're not letting up. That's Pettit with a beauty. East trying to settle down, becomes more deliberate. Costello, number 7. Johnny Kerr of Syracuse, number 10. Into Sears, whose nice fake earns him the basket. Back comes the West, and they have too many guns tonight. Pettit feeds Hagan, who misses, but Baylor drops it in. 124-108, West beats East. And Pettit and Baylor are named co-winners of the Most Valuable Player Award. Our 1959 Converse Cavalcade of Basketball travels to Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City for the final game of the NAIA tournament. Here's the opening tap, Tennessee A&I in white, and they get possession. A member of the Midwestern Conference, the Tigers are the top-rated small college team in the country. John Barnhill shooting. Off the rim, and Noam Dahl rebounds for Pacific Lutheran. Located in Tacoma, Washington, the Gladiators have a season's record of 26-2. Chuck Curtis on the pivot was walking before the shot. Satterwhite passes in for State. Dick Barnett jumping, right on the button. Once again, Pacific Lutheran. They're gunning for their first title. Roig feeds Iverson, and the Luke's top scorer has the range. Up and in. Number 34 is John Barnhill. Watch him get into position. It's in there. Coach Lundgaard's boys from the coast are finding it tough to drive against a tight defense. Thornhill takes it away, and he doesn't need any help. Lutheran comes fighting back. Iverson shooting from the foul circle. It's good. Tennessee ball. They're looking to become the first team in history to win the title 3 years in a row. Ben Wally jumping and hitting. The Gladiators trail by 3 with seconds to go in the first half. Bill Williams makes good on the tap, and State leads by 1 at intermission. Second half now. Porter Merriweather with the ball. So wish. Pacific Lutheran is moving that ball sharply. Curtis feeds Williams, and Williams hits from the side. Once again, Tennessee. Going into tonight's game, they have won 31 times while losing only once. Barnett screens for Barnhill. Bullseye. Lutheran now trying to settle down. Number 35 is Jim Van Beek. Over to Iverson. And Roger is hot tonight. State leads by 6. Dick Barnett misses the hook, but Wirtz is there to cage the rebound. And that spells defeat for Pacific Lutheran. Iverson misses, and the Tigers are fast breaking again. By the score of 97-87, Coach John McClendon's Tennessee A&I squad becomes national intercollegiate basketball champions for the 3rd consecutive year. Freedom Hall in Louisville, Kentucky, and the 1959 Pan American Trials. Here's the opening tap-off. The college all-stars wearing the dark uniforms win possession. Jerry West of Virginia brings it into play. Michigan State's Johnny Green driving and hitting. Now the Wichita Vickers, AAU champions. They are made up of many ex-college All-Americans who remained in the amateur ranks upon graduation. Joe King, former Oklahoma star, completes the pretty play. Once again, the All-Stars. West with the ball. Over to Lee Bird. In the pivot is the Cincinnati great Oscar Robertson. He's a hard man to stop. Lionel Smith, who played his basketball with Missouri, moves up court for the Vickers. Back to Jerry Mullen. Over to Dan Swartz. The one-hander is off the rim, and Robertson rebounds for the Collegians. Jerry West's shot is right on the beam. Wichita comes fighting back. Down by 3 points, they're aiming to narrow the gap. Smith jumping. It's good. Coaching the All-Stars is Freddie Schaus of West Virginia, and he sure has a dream team. Number 14 is Johnny Cox of Kentucky. When Bird clicks, the Stars lead at halftime 40-37. Second half now, All-Star ball. Undefeated in this round-robin event, which also includes the Phillips 66ers and the Armed Forces All-Stars, the Collegians are looking for their 3rd victory in a row, which will assure them of placing 7 men on the U.S. team that will represent this country in the Pan Am Games in Chicago. The Stars, holding a comfortable lead, are not playing recklessly. Robertson screens for West, and Jerry has himself 2 points. Once again, the Vickers. 7-foot Don Boulderbuck playing the bucket. He can't shoot. That is passed out and stolen by Bird. Kansas State's Bob Boozer finally tips it in. Wichita coach Alex Hannum didn't like that. With time running out, they're 8 points behind. Dick Bushka, former St. Louis star, jumping and hitting. The Stars bring it back. With less than a minute to go and leading by 6 points, they want to hold that ball. That's Robertson. Over to Walter Torrance. Jerry West shooting. 88-80. The college All-Stars pin the AAU champions, the Wichita Vickers. The 42nd annual Kentucky State High School Tournament Final. A standing room crowd of 12,500 packed Memorial Coliseum in Lexington, Kentucky to see Manual of Louisville take on North Marshall. Manual, wearing the dark uniforms, have possession. McClear feeds to Ronnie Sears, and the Crimson jump out in front. North Marshall, appearing in the finals for the first time, are the people's choice tonight. Dolph Lorimer puts it away. Coached by Jim Casillo, Manual has won 28 times during the year with only 4 losses. Tom Milton jumping, swish. Once again, the North Marshall Jets. Jerry Powell over to Pat Doyle. These boys can really shoot. Manual leads by 1, and the Jets begin to press. McClear setting. The follow-up is also missed, and Doyle rebounds. North Marshall is fast breaking. Lorimer lays it in, and the Jets lead at halftime, 32-31. Second half now, and Manual is moving that ball. Ron Sears jumping. Good. Marshall, coached by Charlie Lampley, has the unbelievable season's record of 37-1. Lorimer hits again. Manual knows the best way to break that zone is to keep the ball moving. Watch him. Sears pumps it in. It's been nip and tuck all the way. Now it's late in the game, and the Jets trail by 3. Jimmy Lampley finds a path and scores. Manual with the ball, and the lead has been cut to 1. Sears jumping. No good, and the Jets take over. The Coliseum crowd is wild with enthusiasm. That's Larimer with the ball. Over to Lampley. Back to Larimer, and he's shooting. It's good. 64-63. North Marshall wins over Manual to become the 1959 Kentucky State champions. Next up is Boston in our Converse cavalcade, where a capacity crowd sees the NBA championship struggle between the Minneapolis Lakers and the Boston Celtics. The Celtics lead 1-0 in this best-of-7 series. Nicholson hooking for the Lakers. Cousy up court for Boston. Over to Heinsohn, and just watch the way Tom works his way in. The Lakers are the surprise team here tonight. Sparked by Elgin Baylor, the Lakers trim the powerful St. Louis Hawks in 6 games to take the Western Division title. That's Elgin now. A floor view of the Celtics. Shawman screens for Cousy, and Bob doesn't miss. Once again, the Lakers. They're finding it difficult to keep up with the high-scoring Celtics. Bob Leonard misses, and Ramsey rebounds. Frank's all-around play has been terrific. Cousy with a pretty one-hander. Leonard across the line for Minneapolis. Over to Jim Krebs, and the former SMU ace makes it good. Ramsey takes it out for Boston. That's Cousy, and he's red hot tonight. Leonard looking things over. Now to Nicholson. Over to Baylor. Nice shooting. The Celtics now with a nice cushion. Loskatov has it. Into Russell. Out to Heinsohn, and just watch him hook. 72-48 Boston as we start the second half. Russell jumping against Faust. Cousy's got it. One of the all-time leaders in assists. Bob sets up another. Loskatov hitting. The Lakers bring it back. They're a battling ball club. Number 16 is Dick Garmick. Over to Nicholson. Back to Leonard, who's driving. And Garmick gets the honors. Once again, the Celtics. Dating back to March of 1957, they've defeated the Lakers 19 times in a row. Tommy Heinsohn cages another. Russell blocks, Faust's attempt, and Heinsohn rebounds. Keep your eyes on Cousy. To Loskatov for the score. Hampered by a tough Boston defense, the Lakers are fighting hard to stay in this contest. Baylor misses from the side, but the tap is made good by Mickelson. And that's it. Led by Bob Cousy's 21 points and 15 assists, the Celtics win over Minneapolis 128-108. The great Boston team goes on to win the National Basketball Association Championship 4-0 in an unprecedented sweep to the title. Each year, the Converse Rubber Company is proud to present the official National Basketball Association All-Star Team. From the Major League of Basketball, where the fastest and finest brand of play takes place, here are capsule portraits of the 5 top players. Elgin Baylor of the Minneapolis Lakers. Just a rookie, he has developed into one of the brightest stars in the NBA. That's Elgin with the ball now. A former All-American from Seattle University, Baylor led the Lakers in scoring and rebounding. Another jump shot by the Rookie of the Year. Bob Pettit of the St. Louis Hawks. Completing his 5th and finest year, the ex-Louisiana State star set a new league scoring record while pacing his teammates to another first place in the Western Division. That's Bob, number 9. From far out or in close, Pettit is a mighty hard man to stop. Look at him drive. Bill Russell of the Boston Celtics, an extraordinarily gifted pivot man in a league where tall and talented players are common. Bill has been a steady standout. Just watch him hook. Having broken every existing rebound record, Russell is one of the reasons why the Celtics are NBA champions. Russell and 2 points. Bill Sharman of the Boston Celtics. While establishing a new record of 56 free throws without a miss, Bill again led the league in foul shooting, but that's only part of his talent and accomplishments. His jump shots are almost unstoppable. That's Sharman shooting and hitting. Also from the Boston Celtics, Bob Cousy, truly one of the greats of all time. Here Bob is playing defense, and watch him take it away. An absolute magician on the hardwood court, he richly deserves his selection as one of the top players of the NBA. There he is again, the great Bob Cousy. $18,000 fans jam Freedom Hall in Louisville, Kentucky for the 21st annual NCAA tournament final. The West Virginia Mountaineers in the white uniforms have possession. They move that ball with care, getting the feel of it. Bob Smith driving up the middle. No good, but Jerry West rebounds, and the Mountaineers take the lead. Now the Golden Bears of California. After nailing down their 3rd straight Pacific Coast Conference crown, they've reached the final tonight by knocking off St. Mary's, Utah, and Cincinnati. Bill McClintock finally makes it good. Once again, West Virginia, coached by Freddie Schaus, the Mountaineers have a 1-loss record of 29-4 and carry an 11-game winning streak into action. Bob Smith misses, but the battle for the rebound is won by Willie Akers. McClintock holds it up for California. Over to Fitzpatrick, to Imhoff. Across court to Jack Bruce. And he has himself a basket. Mountaineers moving that ball nicely, looking for an opening. Akers firing. Off the rim. But West recovers and scores. Pretty play. Fitzpatrick and McClintock exchanging passes. Across to Dick Dowdy. It's in there. Trailing by 4, West brings it back for the Mountaineers. His pass is deflected and picked off by Fitzpatrick. Simpson slowly across the line. To McClintock. Back to Fitzpatrick. Danny's shot from the key is right on target, and California leads at halftime 39-33. Second half now, West Virginia gets the tap. Smith jumping. off the rim, and the Golden Bears are fast breaking. It's 2-on-1. McClintock gets a second try, and he hits. Champions of the Southern Conference, the Mountaineers have been sparked the entire year by the sensational play of Jerry West. He's just terrific. He shoots. Once again, California. These two teams are very closely matched, and each is showing a good defense. Darrell Imhoff hooking off the rim, but he cages the rebound. Behind by 5, the Mountaineers are looking to feed Jerry West in the pivot. And there he is. California's attempt to pass inbounds is foiled. Imhoff is called for goaltending, and West Virginia trails by 1 with 51 seconds to play. Coach Pete Newell's charge is trying to hold that ball against a pressing Mountaineer defense. Imhoff misses, but he makes good on the tip. California leads by 3 with just seconds to play. Akers hits as the buzzer sounds. 71-70, California edges West Virginia to wind up their greatest season as NCAA champions. Here is the 1959 All-American basketball team, compiled by Chuck Taylor, Converse ambassador to the basketball world. Over 700 of the nation's best coaches, sports writers, and sportscasters assisted in this selection. In making up this team, Chuck weighed not alone scoring ability, but the players' defensive qualities, qualities which are equally essential to the performance of a properly balanced winning combination. Oscar Robertson, 6'5" and junior from the University of Cincinnati. That's Oscar, number 12, and just watch him drive. A 33-point average made him the top scorer in the country for the second consecutive year. 2 more points for Cincinnati's Oscar Robertson. Bailey Howell, 6'7" and senior from Mississippi State. That's Bailey with the ball. The 4th leading scorer in the country, he's set to score again. Bailey Howell of Mississippi State. Walter Torrance, 6'7.5" senior from UCLA. The Bruins' top scorer. He has fantastic timing and a tremendous leap. Just watch his jump shot. Walter Torrance of UCLA. John Richter, 6'8" senior from North Carolina State College. A strong rebounder and a prolific scorer. He gets set to shoot. Now John is in the pivot. Watch him fake and then shoot. John Richter of North Carolina State. Bob Boozer, 6'8" senior from Kansas State University. Watch him drive around his opponent. One of the outstanding big men to come along in some time. He also has the eye from outside. Bob Boozer of Kansas State. Jerry West, 6'3" junior from West Virginia University. That's Jerry in the bucket. A 26-point average placed him among the top 10 in the country. Here he's all set to take the return pass for a driving layup. Jerry West of West Virginia. Dick Barnett, 6'3" senior from Tennessee A&I State University. With his back to the camera, he makes ready to get off his famed jump shot. Dick, at left, fixes another bullseye from the outside. Dick Barnett of Tennessee A&I. Leo Bird, 6'1" senior from Marshall College. An outstanding shot from any part of the court. Here Leo brings the ball into play. Second in the country in scoring with a 29-point average. He again goes all the way. Watch him move. Leo Bird of Marshall College. Johnny Cox, 6'4" senior from the University of Kentucky. A real spark in the Wildcat attack. He gets set for a jumper from the side. From in or out, he's a tough man to stop. Watch him in the pivot. Johnny Cox of Kentucky. Finally, Johnny Green, 6'5" senior from Michigan State. The Big Ten's top rebounder. John also gets his 20 points again. He's ready to drive. His great spirit and all-around play make him a worthy choice for Chuck Taylor's 1959 All-America team. John Green of Michigan State. By the way of finale, let's enjoy the colorful, world-famous Harlem Globetrotters. Tonight they take on another famous five, the New York Giants, Eastern Division champs of the National Football League. Unusual as it may seem, these rock'em sock'em gridiron aces do have some basketball talent. Featuring one of the most talked about players in years, 7-foot Wilt Chamberlain, the Trotters are a team of basketball wizards when they're not fooling around. Wilt gets the basket. The Giants on the attack. Jim Katcavage shooting. It's off the rim, and the Trotters are off and running. The easy layup is missed, so they decide they'd better get the feel of the ball. That's Meadowlark Lemon, and he's got the touch. Once again, it's the Globetrotters' ball. The Giants intercept, and whether it's touchdowns or baskets, they just love to score. Ken McAfee hooks it in. When it comes to ball control, Abe Saperstein's quintet is tops. Just watch them. Still tips it in, and the Trotters lead at halftime 41-23. Actually, the score means rather little in this game, and even the tap-off is a bit unusual. Chamberlain's jump shot is off, and the rugged McAfee rebounds for New York. 3 touchdowns behind, they need points. Ed Hughes misses from underneath, and that's the start of another Trotter fast break. Wilt doesn't miss this time. Realizing that their game is football, the Giants begin to drive. Watch that blocking. Clarence Wilson driving and scoring. He's a mighty good man to have around, so the Giants make him a proposition. Not exactly legal, but quite an idea. Having scored all of their points on the ground, the Merrimen take to the air. It's Robustelli complete to rote for the basket. Playing as often as they do, the Trotters are in excellent condition. But oh, that poor referee. That's Clarence Wilson, the demon dribbler. He sure has the touch. Now look out for trouble. McAfee steals it, and the Giants score again. It's Trotter ball once again. With just seconds to play, they now lead 66-45, and it's time for the freeze. The world-renowned Harlem Globetrotters wind up another hilarious session. And a fitting finale, too, to Converse Rubber's Cavalcade of the Years, Great Moments in Basketball. basketball shoes.